chemo and
You
going.
certainly may. We are live with you. Good morning.
Good morning, Vinnie, and I will be the Commodore at 11 o'clock. I will transfer into my alternate personality, and I will bring the tutu with me.
Now, are you a Lionel Richie Commodore or a naval
No,
Commodore?
I am a self-anointed member of the aristocracy.
I don't know, Mikey. I could see you doing a bop 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 bop
I
bop
got
bop.
nothing against the Commodores. Let's have their greatest hits playing sometime during every day. Let the Commodores go on as they will. And the questions about do I have a brick house? I do not have a brick house.
Well, yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, no, so Brick House was the Commodores. What was the Ohio Players who was their main competition?
Got your
Right?
business, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
All their songs sound like that.
Those were great. I mean,
If you can't have a horn section and somebody singing falsetto, get out of here.
right. Bump, 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 bump. She was a brick, bump, 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 house,
House.
bump, 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 bump. She's mighty. She's letting it all hang out. you
Now
know,
that says she was a brick house. What sort of house is she now? Is
well,
she
I don't
some
know if
sort?
she was or is. I think she is a
She is
brick
a brick
house.
house, or she was. Was too is like a memory, but now she has aluminum siding. She doesn't quite look the same.
She lives in Katati in a nice home with
She lives in Kentucky. They have a yard and they have
a
a
yard, a
they have a dog.
Subaru.
They have a dog, but it doesn't work.
But back then, baby, she was a brick, bump, 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 bump house, bump, 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 bump. She was mighty.
I told you to watch out for those girls from Sonoma County, but no, you wouldn't listen to me.
Oh, well, let me tell you something. Those girls from Sonoma County, man. I had plenty of friends up in Sonoma County, and had a great couple of year run up there with some people that I still keep in touch with today that are just the greatest people in the world.
This is this
I
is a good
mean,
this is a good time for great people because there's some representing the other side. If you watch your morning television, you'll see them every day.
I got to stop watching. See, I keep telling you, Mikey. By the way,
I
just
know
for just for let me take you a little business here. He's Michael Knight, and he's in Pasadena,
that would be me.
California.
He's New York Vinny. He's in Seattle, Washington, as in Washington State. We're buddies and friends and have worked together for years, and we're here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. You can do your labs on Tuesday and Thursday by yourself. You won't need us.
Yes.
And we're here at about 10 past 10 on the West Coast, and at different times throughout the day, depending on how you watch your Facebook.
Yeah. I mean, you can get us anytime on Facebook and on YouTube. If you can't listen to us at 10:10 uh, in the morning, you can listen to us at 10:10 at night and put yourself to sleep with our witty humor, our bantering, and our oddball look at the days or the weeks or the months or the years, or as we're like in coming closer to, I think, seeing the end of the world. If
Well,
if the
before
if
we get
the
to the end of the world, let's see if we can solve this problem. And it's a small problem. First of all, we decided that there are elements throughout the day where we believe we have bought a pig in a poke. In other words, we've been taken somehow, taken advantage of, and used for somebody else's reasons. And we know what a
yes,
pig is. We've all experienced pigs. We've seen them. They're cute. They're smart. Why we eat them? Well, they taste like bacon. That's all I can tell you. It's that we have a strange dividing line about pigs. They're cute and we're adorable. They deserve a good life and they deserve to be loved. And maybe you can have a pet for a pig.
little
Have a pig for
squiggly
a pet.
tail. Yeah, people
Yeah.
do. People have pet pigs. I mean, not
My
in the
my
city, but
my
you
mom
see.
my mom grew up on a cotton farm in Texas with four sisters, and they had a pig named Jim. They didn't
Probably the
spend a lot
nicest
of
Jim
time.
they knew.
They didn't spend a lot of time naming him. They just called him Jim. And
Why go through?
apparently, Jim would follow their mother, my grandmother, all around the yard and around the farm, and he'd follow her in their house. And it was just like he was a pet. And then one day, bacon. I
Yeah,
just
that's
I
how it
couldn't
works.
I couldn't
Unfortunately.
understand. On a farm, you come to grips with the life and death of loved ones.
Yeah, you really. Yeah. I mean, I don't think I could live on a farm. I don't think I could I mean, I can't. I tried hunting. I can't hunt.
We don't like it when the rubber meets the road, do we, Vinny?
No,
We like
no.
we like an illusion and a distance from reality. That's both of us.
Right. I want to feel like my meat, looked like it had that cellophane on it from the time it was manufactured.
Well,
You know.
the they're sweet animals. I mean, I saw a commercial the other day with a cow named Mabel, and she's standing there and looking adorable. And what's she weigh? 1,800 pounds, 2,000 pounds, and there she is. She could be somebody's pet. She would wander around the house, making a mess, breaking a few things, but conceivably a companion every bit as interesting as a chihuahua.
Well, the interesting thing, Mikey, is when we were growing up, there really wasn't uh, vegetarian options.
Oh God, no.
Unless you wanted to, unless your mom was really crafted at whipping up some stuff, where you came probably from a country that you know that didn't harm animals. I
And
had
then
an
there's
Indian friend growing up, and they had delicious food, and there was no meat in it, and we thought they were poor. I
good
mean, meat
point.
was a status symbol
Yes.
after World War II. It was, if you had meat, you had money.
But look what they did with it. They made a perfectly serviceable, wonderful, tasty, inventive dish, and Americans just go, "Where's the meat? Where's the beef?" By the way,
Yeah,
the whole idea of a pig in a poke comes from being taken advantage of. We don't want to say that we started the story about a pig in a poke and never finished it, because
right.
we know what a pig is, we know what a cow is, we know about farm animals, and we respect their lives. We just like the way they taste. That's a
So
pig,
what?
and
So
it's a conundrum. So yeah, what's the question?
the poke. What's the poke?
Good
Is the
point.
poke
That's
the pig pen? Is
Show
you
me
know?
a poke. Show me a
Well,
picture or a
see,
drawing or a rendering of a poke.
now here is the question, because we are both so musically inclined. My mind immediately goes to poke salad and
As an
poke salad
Annie.
Annie, and so Annie is putting poke on the salad, but
She's picking up a mess of it.
she's picking up a mess of poke. But because I've been to the South so many times, you have too. Many people, when they're talking about pork in the South, they don't say poke, they say poke.
It is poke.
It's poke. You want some beef ribs or some poke ribs, is what they
You,
holler out
you,
from the kitchen.
you
In
remember the national campaign trying to call poke the other white meat?
Oh yeah, I still look at it like that. The other white meat. I actually eat a fair amount of poke, because it's healthy. It's good. It's actually good for you. Low cholesterol and good. Good beefy. It feels like. But then I watch Miss Piggy and I go, holy moly, what did I just do?
Yeah,
But
I know.
yeah,
Living here, we have our choice of the best Mexican food in the world, and there's a lot of poke in the Mexican food. And
oh
that's
yeah.
sometimes when I have to choose beef, chicken, poke. It's easy to go with the pork and try something that you might not have in your regular diet. I like it.
But I'm not sure that that's the same poke that Tony Joe White was talking about
No, it's
in
not.
Poke Salad Annie.
No,
It was
that's a green that they picked that grows wild for the poor people of the Louisiana area added to their diet. Yeah, that's how you go pick up a mess of it.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
growing right outside.
Because is it the first line of the song? Down in Louisiana.
But the alligators go so mean.
Right. Poke
And
salad Annie. Bump, blah, blah,
she's
bump,
from a
poke
poor
salad Annie.
family. Her daddy's got a bad back or claims to have a bad back.
Yeah, they lived next door to Billy Joe McAllister,
Yeah, that's
who
it.
jumped off the Chattahoochee Bridge.
First he got the county contract for fixing the bridge. Then he did something we don't know the details of it. Next thing you know, he jumped. You know what? When you do business with Billy Joe McAllister, you have bought a pig in a poke. That's what
Right.
you've done.
But then who corrects that? That fine young preacher, Brother Taylor, who stopped by today?
It's possible. Possible. There's a lot of traffic on the Tallahatchie Bridge. You got to keep your head on the swivel.
There's a movie here, Michael. I feel it already. Listen, if Cocaine Bear can be the top grossing movie in the United
And
States of America,
and you know what the top grossing figure was? A measly $28 million took number one, and Cocaine Bear. By the way, several bears were harmed in the filming of that movie. They will never, ever be the same.
Yeah, you're
You,
gonna see him out on Hollywood Boulevard, man.
you've got grizzly bears that have been to the wrong side of life. Yeah.
You know what the junkie nod looks like, man. You're just standing there, and you're at a traffic light, and you're just waiting for them
To keel over.
to go, but they never go, man. They
No,
just
they got that balance. It's God given.
they're
They're
just
not a
like
pig or
this.
a poke. They're somewhere in between.
There's something, yeah. So if you can make Cocaine Bear into a movie, we can figure out how to mix Ode to Billy Joe and Poke Sal and Annie together. And
Does the bear have a personality? Like, is he like Daffy Duck as a grizzly bear, and he's
well, I think
amused
the
by
bear
it?
kills people. I think it's a slasher movie, isn't it?
No, that would be okay.
I think it's some kind of teen type.
I have if the bear is taking orders, I have a list that I have prepared.
Could we get that bear to Washington quickly?
That's exactly where I'm sending him first. Hello, Bear. Have you been to Washington? No, I heard it's a swampy town. Yes, it is, but this time of year it's cold, so you'll be in a bad mood. And we're sending you to the Senate first, just to start at the top and
No,
work our
no,
way
no.
down.
Listen. There's no doubt in my mind that we sent it right to Marjorie Taylor Greene. Dang.
Well, that raises an interesting point of view. Does the bear use the cocaine that the producer was giving them, or does he just bust in and take Marjorie Taylor Greene's? She's always got a supply in her purse.
Yes, Marjorie Taylor Greene's. I like that. Marjorie Taylor Greene's. She's like she. I mean, now she's complaining about. And listen, now she says that she was attacked in a restaurant. Really odd from somebody who
Was she eating
attacked.
poke?
I wonder if. I wonder if. Um. All right, you ready, Mikey?
I'm ready.
A pig in a poke is a thing that is bought without first being inspected. I will never buy the pig in the poke. There's many a foul pig in a fair cloak. A poke is a bag. So
Oh,
the image is of a concealed item being sold. So you're buying something that's in a bag because, believe it or not, in Slovakia, where this
that's
whole
how.
thing started,
Yeah.
um, farmers would bring pigs to you'd go to market with the pig in a bag,
Is
and
that word? Is that? Ask him if Jim's in there. Is that
and,
Jim?
and farmers would substitute cats for pigs. And so the
Uh,
guy would get, he'd take 10 bags, 10 pigs, and he'd get home and he'd have 10 cats in the bag. And
that's unusual. Anybody who carries a pig in a bag has got some issues that we're gonna have to. It'll take a lifetime to square away. But if you're buying pigs and they're prepackaged in bags, there's a hint that maybe perhaps you're in the wrong business.
yeah, things were much, there was no consumer protection back then.
Well, in Slovakia, you don't even look in the bag till you get home. You don't even take a peek.
No, I think, yeah, I don't know. That's an interesting question
Is that
because you
considered
have,
rude? I was
well,
rude. I looked in my bag, my
the
poke.
problem is you live, if you have to go north or south, I guess if you live east or west, you don't look in the bag. You just, you can go home because you can get on, 66 or 66A. But if you're north and south, until they put north and south in, what do? You got to go on country roads.
In fact, if your pig gets away, should he ever or she ever escape the poke that they're in, you're going to have a hell of a time finding them because once you get to the frontage road, you're at the edge of reality. You're
Mikey, frontage road.
the
You said
frontage
magic.
road. That's the magic word. All right.
We're,
Now we stand aside and let Vinny explain
we're,
what we mean by frontage road.
we're working on a whole special on frontage roads. I
A
was
weekend
actually
special.
when I went to Portland last weekend. I stopped at a couple of frontage roads and
No.
took some pictures, and I'm studying. I've now studied. Let's see, 3 different U.S. Department of Transportation papers, shall we say, dissertations, on frontage roads. I am now familiar with frontage roads, and
Is it an invention? Do you think? Did somebody come up with it, like a pig
oh
in a
yeah,
poke?
yeah, yeah. It was frontage roads were built when the Eisenhower freeway system was started in 1955. When it started in '56. Um, when the Eisenhower freeway, interstate military freeway system, defense highway is what they call, was started, of course, there were complaints from people who, not so much in the urban areas, but in the rural areas, whose properties were either bought or eminent domains, that they then had no way to reach their properties. So they came to an agreement that they would build on many places a side road to the freeway that
Hmm.
would allow them egress and to their property. Otherwise, there was no way that they could get to a farm or to a, and from that, that's why the frontage road. That's why you don't see them. Oddly enough, the frontage road was not originally for freeways. The frontage road was the service road
For state highways.
for. They even had them in New York. I remember this on Queens Boulevard, which is 3 lanes in each direction, and then you had a divider, and then you had a 1 lane road on each side. And what would happen is people would get off, and if you had to make a right turn or a left turn, or you could park in the service road, but there were these. So there was this road alongside Queens Boulevard
That's
that
where you can get dry cleaning in
right.
a White
No,
Castle.
yeah, the White. Well, it's funny. The White Castle, where the White Castle is on Queens Boulevard, which is at 53rd Avenue, I believe. There's no service road. The service road doesn't start until a block down. The service road started at Fairyland,
Of course.
and
That's where
there
you
was
get your pig. That's where you get a pig in a poke.
yeah,
Fairyland.
exactly. So I'm learning more and more about frontage roads every day.
I'm learning more about pigs and pokes because you really should take a look in your poke right now and see if you have a cat or a pig. Because if you paid for a pig and you have a cat, all I'm going to say in criticism of that deal is cats do not equal bacon. You can do it any old way you want. You're not going to get bacon out of a cat if that's your idea. By the way,
Well,
cats enjoy bacon.
yeah. Well, John Raymer writes into us: buy your meat from a grocery store where no animals are harmed. Good point. I think that's what
Um,
we were. That's what we were
it's
talking about
that's
before,
a
right?
goal to which we can aspire. I don't know that it's going to be that easy. The guys in the back with the blood all over their aprons, those guys, Satriales. It ain't.
Well, yeah, Satriales is a special case. I mean,
That's a different kind of pork. That's the
yeah,
other white meat.
yeah. That's something that yeah, I don't know. So, what else is happening in our wide world today? We are. Who do you
More
think we're
snow.
going to go to war with first, China or Russia?
Can't be China because of all the Chinese restaurants and the interesting relationship we have with China's manufacturing prowess. When we want
Yeah.
something, half of it's going to come from China, and they know this. They know they're messing with their future. They know they're messing with the one thing they've got going. They're an international trader. They're a economic power, but they want to be a warlike tough guy. They want to walk down the street like Ron DeSantis walks to the bathroom. The attitude he has when he's coming down the hall, just going to take a leak. He's got such an attitude that he carries with him. He's never happy. He's never friendly. He's mad about something. He's an angry guy. He's picking on himself. He cannot be satisfied, as they say in Chicago blues. And the Chinese government has got a wonderful thing going. They're an economic powerhouse. They are a military Question mark, because they haven't been to war in a long time. They haven't fought a war. They've stayed out of all the stupid Afghanistans. They've stayed out of the Vietnams. They've kept away from everything. They had influence in those wars and those conflicts, but they didn't have their men on the ground. They didn't commit their Chinese the People's Republican Army.
Right.
Stayed out of it.
Right.
And that gave them a chance to advance. We had to recover our economy based on the war. They had the chance
And
to
we
advance
basically
without
fought
one.
for them back in the 40s, even pre-World War II. We were defending them from the Japanese.
From the Japanese. Well, those lessons can be hard earned and then forgotten quickly when it's time to say, look, Russia's got this war going on, and it's not the kind of war we want to be in, and it's not going very well for them. And it's a lesson to everyone involved that even though you think the Russians are going to beat the Ukrainians, look what happened. Upset, turnaround, playoffs have changed. The outlook's different. So we're looking at that and looking at what the United States did for the last 20 years in Afghanistan. Why would they want to play that game? Why would they say, we've got this huge army? Well, most of the time we just spend spying on ourselves and keeping track of the Chinese farmers and the new tech executives in Hong Kong. We're following ourselves. Wouldn't it be nice if we could go to war with somebody? That's really why we have the army. It's a huge army. Let's just get our toe wet. Let's just send them some ammunition and a few advisors and a couple planes and a bus and some Sun Yat-sen T-shirts.
That's how it started for us, though, in 1960. What was it, actually? 55 or 6? When did Eisenhower send the first advisors into Vietnam?
Helping out the French who couldn't handle.
Helping out the French. And let me tell you something. This hasn't been the same country since the Vietnam War.
No. In fact, we lost a whole generation of people who fought the Vietnam War, who came home in a scattered state.
58,000 right in boxes, and countless who live on the streets of your major cities to this day.
Where's your microphone, Ben? You're fading away there a little bit.
How's that? Better?
Beautiful. Thank you.
All of a sudden, my microphone, for some reason, hang on a second, went.
Did you buy a pig in a poke?
I think I'm out of here. This is a nice microphone, Mikey, but I went and bought this Shure microphone, and I gotta say that I don't know that I'd ever buy another one.
Show me that one, please. Would you put it in the? Yeah, they use that as a vocal mic sometimes.
Yeah, I mean it appeared to be. Now I guess this is better, right?
Much better.
But the problem with it is it has the XLR in the back, which I have to get a cable for, but it for some reason the USB to the computer link is not built well. And I'm actually gonna write Shure a little bit of a letter and say, hey dudes,
I believe, dear sirs, that I have purchased a pig hidden in a
for a
poke.
microphone.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't even have had to purchase this if I would have had my treasure trove of stuff from beautiful downtown Pittsburgh in the storage unit, because I have a dynamite mic in that.
Am I going to have to go back there with you?
I think, Mikey, at some point we might have to do a road trip. Might have to do a Mikey and Vinnie road trip across the country.
The country will be sorry. You've heard about pigs purchased in a poke. That's one you're never going to forget.
Around the world with Mikey and Vinnie is
Around the world, unabridged version.
Yes. So
poke's a bag. I had no idea.
So Russia and China, I don't know. I just I look at it and I just kind of go, I mean, are we looking at the end here? I mean, is one of these idiots gonna push a button, and I know it's more than just pushing a button. There's a whole series of events that has to go. But are one of these guys just gonna go, or do they want to take us over because they want everything that's here? But they figure if we blow all the people out of the place, we can just walk in and take what we need.
Well, what do they really want? They want to help Russia to what end? What do they get out of it? They've had this meeting every day this week, and they always ask the same question: if we help them, what do we get? What's the advantage to us? Do we have an advantage in the future for business relationships with Russia? Not the best partner for that. Is Putin going to be a reliable partner for this delicate work that we have to do in terms of diplomacy and State Department activity and not overcommitting? Are we going to say we're never going to send troops? And if we do, are we fighting not Ukraine but NATO? Are we going to send them jets? And then of course Biden. What does Biden do? He's going to send F-22s and F-16s. We have to train them. Now our jets and our artillery are winning the war against Russia and Russia's new partner. And China doesn't like to lose. We didn't join this war to lose like you've been losing. We joined it to win like we thought we could. We would make the difference. And now we're both losing. So what the hell? Why did we join? What was the upside of this? And they've played this out a million times in the corporate chessboard there, or the Communist Party chessboard, and it can't come out saying, "Yeah, this looks good for China. This is just the type of edge we wanted."
Yeah.
A horrible war that we back, that we lose, and we become instant losers with Russia.
Yeah, I agree. You can't. You're in. I mean, war is not good for anybody, is it? I mean, can't we get? Aren't we in a place where? I don't know. I like to think that we're in a place where, or we've evolved to a place where we don't need to go to war anymore. You know, we don't. I mean, you know, you open borders and you free trade with people and you do this and do that. I mean, what's going on in Putin's head? That he thinks, oh, well, I know what's going on. I've read enough
But
about
it's
it.
it's a notion from the 1800s. I'm going to take over your country. The holy wait, but we're the Holy Roman Empire. Well, you're not holy, you're not Roman, and you're hardly an empire. So, like I said, we're taking over. Starts on Tuesday,
Yeah,
and that type of land grab, it can't be done anymore. And look, he didn't even have the army that he thought he had. He thought he had the mighty Russian army. What happened to it? What
yeah.
happened to
Good
their?
luck on that, pal.
There's no preparedness. There's no attention to detail. There's no resolve. There's no backup. There's no generals that know what they're doing. There's no victory. There's no upside. There's no bright side. It's the worst situation for the entire nation. And I don't know how much further it has to go. But if Putin woke up dead tomorrow, you wouldn't be surprised, would you?
No, there's nothing that happens in Russia surprises me anymore.
Oh,
Nothing, you know.
our fearless leader had a heart attack in the night. He died
Well,
peacefully.
who was the one? Andropov. He had a headache, and all
He
of a sudden,
did.
you won't see Andy around anymore.
But he didn't have but that headache has never bothered him since.
If one day he had a headache, next day somebody else was running the country.
What was his first name? Dmitry Andropov?
I think it was. Yes, I think it was.
And how do you feel today? Well, I've dropped off a little from yesterday.
funny how it. Funny how they change leaders over there. Much different than here, where the leaders just lie about.
we vote and wait to find out. They make the change and then they vote to find out who's with them.
Yeah, and if you're not with them, you again them, and if you again them, boom. Um, one of the interesting things that I thought about and was looked at last night, and actually leads me to think that there's something going on, is how Lori Lightfoot lost in Chicago last night.
Well, you think it
The
was? She wasn't that popular toward the end.
Well, she wasn't popular, but I think in places like Chicago, and I can't say that I'm an expert on this stuff or anything like that, but I'm looking at Chicago and I'm saying to myself, there is going to be a movement in cities um, that is going to put law and order candidates front and center. In Chicago, you got this Paul Vallis guy,
Yep,
and he is, I don't want to say he's a right winger, but it's a hard line message on crime
he's
and policing.
The future Rudy Giuliani of Chicago.
Right. And I think that places like that, places like Seattle, where, you drive downtown and your heart breaks with what you see, A lot of these cities want their, a lot of the people that live in these cities, these businesses want their cities back.
Here too, Vinny, the new mayor that just got elected, it ran on a solution to the homeless problem. And since she's taken office, she's been very quiet for a mayor of LA because the job that she's promising to fix and was the central part of her campaign, among the many things that were among the central parts of the campaign, was what is turning out to be $1 billion proposition
Yeah.
to house, adjust, relocate, treat, feed, care for the homeless population of LA is like inheriting a city on another planet where none of the customs that we are used to apply. They're living in an alternate universe, right under our nose, right on our way to work,
Yeah.
right under the
Yeah.
freeway. There
They're
they
not
are.
thinking the same way we are.
They are in another world, and our solution is to enter their world. Tell them they're going to enter our world now. Remember that world you used to live in? Well, I still live there. We're going to get you out of this mess, and you're going to have a chance to re-enter the world. And what world was that? That's my world. But what about my world? We're not going to pretend you have a world anymore. We're going to get you out of that sleeping bag and underneath and into some refurbished hotel. You and hundreds of thousands of others in a $1 billion competition for treatment and food and medicine. What's the step of curing the homelessness that we see in this city is not something that can be accomplished with an idea or resolve or a concept. It has to be seen to with billions of dollars.
And really, it kind of comes up to what do you do with these people? Do you come up with the vagrancy laws that we had in the 50s and the 40s that said if you don't have a dime in your pocket, you got to move on, that kind of thing? What do you do with people that don't want to be treated? What do you do with people that, I'm sure that there are many homeless people that if you said to them, we have a room for you and three meals a day, it's in a, building with a million other homeless people. But it's warm and you can go there and you can stay there and as long as you participate in services. But there's a lot of people that don't want to participate in the services.
Their world doesn't work with participation and getting together and discussing their problems and going to the doctor and checking out
Taking
their
their meds. They go to the doctor, they don't take their meds. I mean,
they never even fill the prescription. And I'm not saying this in a critical way. I'm saying it, and this is what happens when you're dealing with someone who is hurt
yeah.
and in a certain amount of pain just by being alive, just by being awake and aware.
And I don't know how in the world you can, I mean, I think we've gone, it used to be that, you, listen, there's always been a homeless problem. I remember from when I was a little kid, coming back from Jersey, you drive along the Bowery, and there
Oh,
would be the
yeah.
bums washing windshields, and and most of them were usually alkies. They all smelled like cheap wine. And my father used to, a lot of times give him a nickel or a dime or something like that. Don't touch my windshield.
Yeah.
That rag you have is going to make it worse than it is. But here's a dime, here's a quarter, whatever, whatever. And so there's always been the problem. But now it's so much deeper. And the people you used to see on the Bowery, it always felt like they were trying to figure out a way to get off of it. There's a great, excuse me, there's a great Naked City episode about a guy who's on the
There's a
Bowery.
there's 1,000 people in the naked city. Oh, there
Yeah,
goes one
there's
now.
8 million stories in the Naked City. This is one of them. But there's a great Naked City episode about a guy who's on the Bowery and he wants to get off. So he keeps stealing a horse. In those days, in the 60s, they still had the horse-drawn vendors. So he keeps going over to the west side and stealing the horse.
From in front of the Plaza Hotel.
No, from there's a stable, a couple of stables on the west side. So
Oh
he would
yeah,
go and he would
Central
take the
Park.
horse, yeah, and he would, you know, start. They catch him riding the horse, and they would have to arrest him, and they catch him riding the horse, and then they would arrest him. And finally, the captain and the cops got smart, and they just got him a horse and a cart. And he got in the horse and the cart, and he took off back to the town that he came from. That's where he wanted to go. He wanted to go back home. He wanted to go where he felt comfortable. What's the horse for these people? Where is the horse?
Well, that's a good question. Everybody has a horse story. Everybody needs something. Everybody needs their version of the horse. And for some, it's medical care. For some, it's mental care. For some, it's both. For some, it's a broken life that maybe can't be put back together, but can be lived with dignity. For some, they're so far gone from the norm that even the picture of help or the promise of help or the person who represents help is considered something fearful, something to get away from, something to avoid. And those people are going to have the hardest time then, because when we clear the streets of the homeless, it wasn't to clear the streets of 80% of the homeless and let 20% people remain as they are. They're so accustomed to it. That's not the way it's going to be. There's going to be some hard and fast rules when all the government money gets spent on this project, this $1 billion LA project. And one of the rules is not going to be, and you can feel about it however you want. If you want to join in, that's great. Otherwise, you could order pizza and live on your own. No, you're not going to give them that option. I'm not going to say we're clearing the street and taking out all the stuff, except for you, Myrtle. You've been here the longest. You can live on the street.
You can stay. You can stay.
No.
You're a fixture in the neighborhood.
Not you, Myrtle. That's not how it's going to work. Not anymore.
Well,
not when the solution comes.
Yeah, I pray that listen, I've been in that broken, as broken life situation where you wonder what are you going to be out on the street? Are you going to be here? You're going to be there? What are you going to be doing? And it's you fight it. When that stuff starts to happen to you, you fight it and you get through it. But I can see where there are some people who give up the fight. Yep. And they go and they're sleeping on the side of the freeway.
Yep.
And we're not going to solve it in the minute that we have left here, but I think that what we saw last night in Chicago is something that we're going to start to see in places like Seattle and Portland and San Francisco, where you're going to start to get these kind of right-wing law and order candidates.
And Ben, that's attractive to someone who's only got 30 minutes to fix the homeless problem in the nation. We've got 30 minutes. Can we get it done then? Because I got to pick up the kids, and then we're going to soccer practice. Wait a minute. This is never going to be solved. And what are you going to do with the 10%, the 20% that refuse, the 10% that can't remember where they live, an additional 10% that are on such medical watch lists that they've got to be seen to every day, or they're going to die, or they're going to have remission? Or what about the ones that are seriously ill and pose a threat to others? What about the ones that are mentally ill and need meds to balance their mental brain chemicals?
Yeah.
It's and then feeding everybody and relocating everybody and getting them clothes and getting and cleaning up after them, because they're not used to doing it for themselves, it's like a one-on-one situation. You're going to save 1 billion people in LA, or that's an exaggeration.
Well,
several hundred thousand,
yeah,
several hundred thousand in the city of 10 million, and they're unmarked, unregistered, unaddressed, unhelped, unknown, uncooperative, unappreciative. They don't want all that. They would like their life to just be returned back. They'd like to feel like they did when they were 12. Well, we can't do that, but our society should be able to say, you don't have to live like this. We can help you live another way, but we can't solve all your problems. We
Yeah,
can help with each and every
gotta
one.
help yourself. You got to do something to help yourself. Well, Mikey, I know you got to go a little early today, so
Well, we started with a pig in the poke. We ended with a serious problem that our society may never uh, actually address. And I wonder if ancient Rome had people living on the street who never adjusted.
it's a great question. I mean, it is. You probably did. You probably had the vagabonds or the
Yeah,
people who, roamed the gypsies roaming from town to town because they couldn't find permanent places. Maybe it's something that's in all of us somewhere, but because of societal mores and because of the way we are raised, to go out and do a day's work and to do different, to operate within the parameters of society
right.
as it is dictated to us by our parents, we fight that off. We fight to have a place to live. We fight to have three squares a day. And
Well, then I promise to fight to be back here for a Freaky Friday on Friday next.
Mikey, you gotta see the car I'm driving this week.
Oh, what do you got? I'm so
Oh, you
jealous.
gotta see what I'm driving this week, Mikey.
What's it called?
Oh my God. They just dropped it off in front of the house. An Audi S4.
Ooh.
It's S3 or S3, I think it is. Sorry. I haven't even had a chance to sit in it yet, but I'm telling you, it's going to make me look 25 years younger.
Don't buy a pig in the poke when you're driving an Audi.
I'm going to make sure. But no, Audi's a good car. I don't think there's
Even
anything
on a
else
even if
about.
you're on a frontage road in Spolpakia.
I think
Caution, caution.
those days of bad Audis are gone. And I remember I had one. I had an Audi Fox. That day was whoa.
Oh God. That was a mistake. That was a pig in a poke.
I'll tell you the story about the Audi Fox on Friday. Listen, you have
Okay.
a good afternoon, Commodore. Good morning, and then I'll catch up with you on Friday morning at 10:10 if the Lord's willing, the creek don't rise.
And the Manischewitz is flowing freely. What a wine. See you, Ben.
Peace, love, Manischewitz, baby. Bye-bye. Take care of yourself. And thank you all for listening, too, to Mikey and Vinnie. Please go to YouTube and like us. And, I don't know, be kind to each other. Be nice to each other. Do good things for each other. I'm going to get in that car. I can't wait to get the cars and coffee on Saturday morning. Whoa. Yeah, an Audi Fox. An Audi Fox, man. You remember that one. All right, man. Peace, love, and Manischewitz, baby.